my family, I've got a lot of family in the military. That military into private security. How did you then transition into gaming?
I fell into gaming, so I made quite a bit of money, and I decided what was I going to do. I knew, and it was so funny. I knew back then, so it was 2014, 13, 2013, and I was like, what can I do to now have a career that doesn't involve AK-47s, machine guns, grenades, and I decided to retrain in IT. And and it's so funny because I still laugh at this. I thought I was going to be like a developer. I thought I was just going to be like super cool developing. Um, so I retrained in IT, and I moved into project management. And DAFA Bet reached out to me. I was working in the UK for the NHS. DAFA Bet reached out to me and said, "Hey, we want a project manager." And that was my first stint. But also, I moved out to the Philippines, met my wife. Again, having that stability. I think I mentioned to you on our kind of initial call. When I got out of the army, I didn't know how to pay a gas bill. I didn't know what rent was. Well, I had to go food shopping. I had to do my own shopping. What's all this? And again, and you mentioned the word institutionalized, and I was institutionalized. I knew one way of how to do things, and that was the army way. And then all of a sudden, moving into security was very the same. I was away for 12 weeks at a time in a camp with other military men doing military type things, you know, food provided, accommodation provided. All of a sudden, there's this big wide world. And so, again, I always wanted to succeed. I've always had this drive to succeed, but with that comes a huge amount of fear. How do people look at me? And again, this is something that I still struggle with today. Is that my internal fear of not being liked, not fitting in, and again the fear of coming on a call and going, are people going to understand me because of my Bristolian accent? And so there's all of this fear that sits inside me today, and it's still there. But as I said, I have tools to deal with that today. Mindfulness is something that I do. I do a gratitude list every day. I do a nightly inventory. I look at my own actions and making sure that my side of the road's clear. I cannot look at other people and think what they're thinking because again, that's how my head works and my health works. And we talk about that transition. What was it? It'd been 7 years ago. I tried to kill myself. Cut my femoral artery, blood everywhere. I had to be rushed in. Had emergency surgery to save my life, and it was just the fear of not being able to succeed, and on top of the alcohol and drugs, it was just all compounded. Did I think I really wanted to kill myself? No, no, I don't. Like if I truly look at it, I just think I was asking for attention and I was asking for help, but not knowing how to ask. Um, and for me, today, this is why I'm always happy to talk about this because there is help, whether it's a message to myself, yourself, Jeremy, or anyone, I'm always willing to jump on a phone call with someone because having been there, the most important thing we can do is talk. And, I've had a lot, double figures of people that have committed suicide, from my regiment in the last 5 years. I am fed up of going to funerals of people that have taken their own life because they haven't seen a way out.